We are back. For me, I feel like it's been forever. It's actually only been a couple weeks, but it's been a long couple of weeks since I've been to the office. Went on a little trip, went overseas to Japan for a couple weeks. I didn't do any fishing, but what I did do was some shopping. So I'm looking forward to putting some lures that I got over there into use back at home in our home waters to see if they work. Gonna go check out the water. Conditions are looking, just so good. Anyways, let's get out there, show you guys some new lures, and hopefully we can put a fish or two on the stand today. See you guys out there. Quick tip, so it's now spring, things are starting to sprout, and a lot of times when you're going out to the beach, or, along the coastline, we have a ton of this plant right here, and this is one that you don't want to mess with. This is poison oak, and the way you can tell it apart from other plants, I'm sure there's better guides online, but anyways, one thing you can tell is the leaves are shiny, so you can see those leaves right there have kind of like a glossy finish, and then they sprout in threes. 1, 2, 3, and the leaves, they don't have like sharp points to it. So you can see this little bush here, those leaves are pointed, so that's not poison oak. Don't mess with these ones. Now that it's spring, I think these are starting to pop out a little bit more, and yeah, don't want to get poison oak. All right. Why is it so dark? Let's see what time it is. It is 8:30 and high tide this morning. I think it's around noon, maybe 11:30, something like that. So we got a few hours before high tide. We're fishing all the way up to it, and then we'll fish on the way back down, if we have time as well. So I had 2 beaches in mind this morning that I wanted to hit up. This is obviously the first one. We're gonna try this one for, give it probably an hour before we pick up and move and try the second one if this one doesn't pan out. I always tell people when you're fishing the surf, it's best to stay mobile. One of the sayings is 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water, and I really think that's true when it comes to fishing the surf. You really got to find that hole that's holding all the fish. And I mentioned this morning I'm going to be trying out some lures that I got in Japan, JDM lures. I don't think you can get them here. You might be able to. You probably pay a fortune in shipping. But anyways, we're going to get to that. But first, I want to throw this Lucky Craft because I know this works. So I want to throw this out there. If I was trying something completely new and it wasn't working, I'm kind of unsure if that's the lure not working or if the fish aren't there. So first I want to try something that I know works, and then once I catch something on this, then I'm going to switch over and try some of my new stuff. So here's, I'll give you a sneak peek of what we might be trying here in a bit. Cool looking lures, and I think they might work out here. But anyways, yeah, first let's try the Lucky Craft, the tried and true. This is the, I don't know exactly what color this is, but it's the one that I like to throw. First cast in over 2 weeks. I know it hasn't been 2 weeks since I posted a video, but basically I had a few videos stocked up because I knew I was going to be out for a couple weeks. But for me, this is a long time not being out in the surf, on the kayak, or just anywhere out on the water really. But it's good to be back. Alright, well, this beach isn't seeming to pan out. Been casting around, covered a couple 100 yards, no real bites. But it's just a quick tip when casting this jerk bait. People always ask me about the retrieve, and honestly, for a surf perch, there's really nothing to it. It's just a slow, steady retrieve. And we're using braided line so we can see, we can feel all the action of the lure. I basically want to reel it in as slow as I can while still feeling the action of that lure, wobbling back and forth in the water down there. Just like that. Just slow and steady. And same thing goes for striped bass. The only difference I find with striper is sometimes it helps to give it a little pop like that. Boom. I don't know what it is. Maybe it just gets them aggravated or helps them find the lure, but I found with perch, just straight retrieve. Striped bass, sometimes I'll give it a little bump like that. And definitely every day is different, but that's just the trend that I've seen over the years. But yeah, nothing's happening at this beach, so I think I'm gonna give it a couple more casts here and then move on. Oh, that was a bite. Oh, there's a fish. There's a fish. Okay, maybe we'll stick it out here a little bit longer. That fish came back and hit it like 2 or 3 times. Feels like a good fish too. Oh, it's not even a perch. First one of the year. All right, first fish of the morning. Not what we were looking for, but as I always say out here on the West Coast, these guys are never out of the question. Doesn't matter what time of the year, what bait you're using. Honestly, they'll pretty much eat anything at any time. So you gotta be super careful, especially with all these treble hooks on any jerk bait. And these striped bass are known to stick you, but carefully get it out like that. All right, we'll give them a reach. So these fish need to be 18 inches in order to keep an Aussie. That's pretty close to keep her, but I didn't bring a tape measure with me this morning, so we're gonna just let this one go. There he goes. We often refer to those size striper as schoolie striper because, you know, the smaller ones, they hang out in schools a lot of times, a little bit more than the bigger ones do. So where there's one, there should be more. I know I came out here to try the JDM lures, but to help, I gotta throw a couple more casts with this one before we switch it over. So if I would have swung on that one and missed, you know, you might not have come back for it the second or third time. So I like to, I know I usually give it a good set, but I do like to wait until I can feel the weight of the fish on there so that I know the hooks are gonna get driven into, you know, the side of the mouth or whatever. But anyways, yeah, especially with striper, they're so aggressive. They will definitely come back and hit a lure 3, 4, 5 times if they, you know, they miss it on their first couple attempts. They will definitely come back. There we go. There's a fish. Oh, that feels like another striper. Oh, it came off. Oh, damn. I think that was another striper. All right, time to go. Spot number 2. And I think I'm gonna stop messing around with the Lucky Craft. I'm gonna start busting out the lures that I came here to use. And I'm gonna start with this one. I brought 4 different lures. Got a bunch of them here. Yeah, we'll just start with this one, see what happens. I think it's the most similar to the Lucky Craft out of the 4 that I have here. It's called the Appia Dover 99F. So basically, pretty similar profile, maybe a little bit smaller. Yeah, a little bit smaller than the Lucky Craft. It's about, I think it's 18 grams? 15 grams, which is about a little over half an ounce, I think. I'm a little worried about this one being too light out here, but it's a shallow diver. You know what, we're just gonna try it, see what happens. Looks really good. Seems like it's got some strong hooks. They're a little bit bigger than the hooks that come on the Lucky Craft. Only 2 of them. Basically what I was looking for in jerk baits when I was over there, I was looking for something that's a little bit smaller, but a little bit heavier so I could cast a little bit farther. And this one actually is a little bit lighter, so that one didn't fit the bill there, but the other 2 are a little bit heavier. Hopefully we'll get to those a little bit later. But I've never really used any JDM products, but if you're familiar with the fishing world, for the most part, anything that's made in Japan is just kind of thought to have better quality. It looks pretty good. Definitely sharp hooks. I'm not sure if it would stand up to a big striper, but yeah, it looks a little bit more beefy than the stock stuff that comes, at least on the jerk baits that you've seen on the channel. So anyways, enough talking, let's try it out. I'm gonna try to just kind of run it through the shallow water here, see what kind of action it gets, and then obviously we'll make a couple casts. I don't know if I mentioned already, but this is beach number 2, and yeah, water's looking good. Nice little hole right here. Cast the lure in and see what happens. All right, there's a nice little close-up of this thing. Nice little shine on there. Similar pattern to the Lucky Craft. You know, just that metallic with the black spots on the side. Let's see. Ooh, I think it's got a little bit different action. I think this is actually similar action to the Surf Pointer. So a lot of times I use the Flash Minnow, but I think it's called the Surf Pointer, I don't know. But there's another lure that Lucky Craft makes that I think has a similar action to this. But this one's a shallower diver, so we'll see what happens. It might be a little bit too shallow and a little bit too light. It casts pretty good for a light lure. Definitely far enough to get into the Surfperch zone. So anyways, yeah, we'll cast this one a few times. It's got more of like a rolling action than a side-to-side action. I don't know if that's gonna make any difference or not, but only one way to find out. There we go. There's a fish. Oh wow, look at that. That is impressive. One of the smallest striper I've ever caught in the surf. Made in Japan. I brought it out here to the West Coast. And it worked. It's kind of surprising, look at that. That striper went after a bait that's about half its size. I don't know how I was planning on eating that, but it works. All right, we'll give this one a release. What is this one called? The Dover 99F. Really, really small lip there. So this one's not gonna dive down very far. But you know, obviously it works. Keep casting it for a little while, see if I'm really looking for perch. I swear I'm not trying to catch striper, but seems like that's all I can find so far. Next on tap, well, first off, let me show you this one more time. Dover 99F. I think the F stands for floating and the 99 is like the length of the lure. But anyways, review after using it for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. A little bit light, but I like that it's got some nice big hooks on there, really sharp. And you know, obviously it stuck that little striper. I'm not a huge fan of the action. The action's like a little more wobbly like this through the water rather than the side to side. I kind of like the side to side a little bit more, but anyways, still a viable option. It's got a little bit smaller lip, so if you're looking to fish, you know, a little bit shallower section of the water, this might be a go-to. But anyways, I'm sure it would probably catch a perch too if we gave it enough time, but we don't have time for that today, so let's get to the next one. Got a little bit of a breeze coming in, so I think because that lure was a little bit lighter, it's getting pushed around by the breeze too much. But next one shouldn't have that problem. So this is another similar style jerkbait. They're all, I guess, similar style, but a little bit smaller profile. So this one is, let's see if it has a length on it, 90. So the last one was a 99, this is a 90, so a little bit smaller, but it's twice the weight, 28 grams, so a full ounce. And I said earlier I was looking for smaller, heavier jerkbaits, and this is pretty much exactly what I was looking for. The only thing that I'm worried about this one is it's a sinking jerkbait, and I think that's probably why they don't have very many of these smaller but heavier lures, is that I don't think you can make them float with all this weight and such a small profile. I don't know, we're gonna find out. I think it can still work. I didn't say it earlier, but the tackle shop that I got these last two lures from came from one of the coolest tackle shops I've ever been to. It had a full wall of just jerk baits. I mean, I could have spent thousands of dollars just getting different kinds of jerk baits. They had small ones, big ones, and everything in between, you know, all different colors, all different shapes and sizes. But yeah, there's that one. Oh, I forgot, what's the name of this one? This is the pintail. Whatever that means. All right, let's go try this one out. see what kind of action we're working with here. Actually, the action's not very good on this. I think I have to just work it super fast. Or just give it some jerks. Yeah, it needs to be going faster to get the same kind of action that I normally would get on other lures. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, a little disappointing, but we'll see. We're still gonna give it a shot. Not looking so good for these Japanese lures. I don't think, in my opinion, would replace the Lucky Craft. So, you know, I casted these around for about an hour or two. I think we've passed high tide now. Time check is, yeah, past the high tide. It's about noon right now. Now we're working on the outgoing, and unfortunately, the other ones didn't pan out. So we're going back to Old Faithful, the Lucky Craft. We're gonna work down the beach here, start here, and work to the north and look for some fish. I just haven't caught, I mean, I caught that one striper, that was a nice fish, but yeah, no perch. I'm looking for a perch. All right, back to Old Faithful. One thing I will find out, if I don't catch any on this, then I'll know that it wasn't the lures that was the problem today. So if that's the case, I'll have to give them another shot. I still think that they're good jerk baits. I have specific conditions in mind for when I think they'll work a little bit better. But anyways, yeah, I'll have to test that out in videos to come. Let's see if we can put some fish on the sand here. Oh, that was a bite. Oh, another bite. Come back for it. Come back for it. Oh, that must have been a small fish. Oh, that was a bite. There we go. There's a fish. There's a fish. Finally. Finally. Oh man, it's been a grind. Back-to-back cast though. I don't know if it's a little striper or perch, but whatever it is, there must be a little school of them in there. Hopefully it's a perch. We're looking for perch. Come on. It's giving me perch vibes. Nope, it's a striper. Yeah, I think a little school striper probably swimming through right now. All right, won't talk too much about this one. Probably a little bit bigger than the first one we got. Definitely a little fatter. I think it's probably 18 inches, probably a legal fish, but we're just gonna go ahead and release him. There he goes. All right, get back in there. It didn't really pan out with the Japanese lures that I brought back, so I'll have to save those for another video. But anyways, got a few fish on the old Lucky Craft, the Old Faithful. Never fails me. So anyways, we'll see if something happens on the way back. All right, well, I definitely am rusty. I think I forgot to hit the record button on that last fish, but I'll give you a little reenactment of how it went. First cast into this little trough right here. I was just bringing my little Lucky Craft right through the hole, and then right where he should be, boom, smashed the lure. Got a nice hook set, fought him for a little bit, pulled a little bit of drag, a little bit of that action. And then we dragged him up on the sand. All right, well, it didn't really work out with the Japanese lures, the JDM jerk baits, but the Old Faithful Lucky Craft never lets me down. A little bit bigger fish, definitely not a big one by any means, another little schoolie, but this one's gonna go home with us. It's probably about 20 inches or so. Honestly, the smaller one's better for eating anyways. But look at that fish, really straight lines. Just really not a scar, not a blemish on him. Yeah, that's a nice little striper. We'll bleed this one out, take this one home for the frying pan. not exactly the day that we were planning to have. The JDM lures, the Japanese lures never worked out. I did catch one kind of like half of a striper, and yeah, they didn't really work out the way I planned them to. And then also I never found the Surfperch that I was kind of looking for. But a good day nonetheless. I ended up finding, I'll just say 3.5 striped bass, because that one, I don't even know if we can really count that as a fish at all. But anyways, really nice day out here. Amazing weather. Like I said before, if you want to know a little bit more of what I look for surf fishing the surf, for striped bass and Surfperch in particular, check out my Patreon. I'm going to do a video on this month. I don't know if it's going to be up by the time this is posted, but if it's not, it's going to be coming up for very, very soon. So check that out if you're interested. Thank you for everyone who's already subscribed to the Patreon. I think it's going well. It took me a little while to kind of figure out what I wanted to do there, but I think this kind of setup is working well, and I think I'm going to keep doing it. So anyways, fun day out on the beach. Good to be back, and many more adventures to come. So hopefully we've turned the corner on this whole winter weather thing. Yeah, the weather's been just terrible. I wasn't able to get much fishing in the last few months, but I think we're turning the corner. I think the weather's going to be getting better. We should be able to get out and do more fishing, and hopefully more videos come to the channel. So anyways, yeah, I appreciate every single one of you for watching, and see you guys on the next one.